Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headline. Rejoicing the royal visit of His Majesty to the Wilaya of Suhar, and on the occasion of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, the citizens continue celebrating these happy occasions. Public Authority for Information Technology announced its readiness to tackle cyber attacks as many world countries are attacked by a ransomware virus again. Scores of people are killed in an airstrike in eastern Syria. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Rejoicing the royal visit of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos to the Wilaya of Suhar, and on the occasion of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, celebrations of citizens in the Wilaya of Suhar are continuing on these special occasions. The activities program today includes a marine festival, namely a boat race and raft race. The program also included a horse march and the performance of traditional arts like Razha and a number of maritime arts. During the festival, a number of craftsmen practically explained how ships are made, in addition to showcasing travel equipment used in the ancient ships. At the end of the second day activities, winners in the boat and raft races will be honored. National Computer Emergency Response Team CERT in Public Authority for Information Technology announced its readiness to tackle cyber attacks as many world countries were attacked by a ransomware virus again. The National CERT called upon everybody to take a number of procedures to avoid the attack of ransomware virus, such as updating operation system and antivirus and not opening folders which come from unknown sources. It is worth mentioning that the new cyber attacks of one of the ransomware viruses has caused disorders in many world countries. In Ukraine, the government announced that the new cyber attack has caused disorders in the electricity network, banks, and governmental offices. A number of banks in Russia and Rosneft oil company has fallen victim of the virus attack. Mark's International Shipping Company in Denmark announced that all its branches were affected by the cyber attack of the ransomware virus. A cluster bomb attack on a Daesh-held village in eastern Syria killed at least 15 people today, the latest in a series of devastating airstrikes along the Euphrates River Valley. Monitoring groups said the weapons were dropped on the village of Dublin by an unidentified jet. Russian, Syrian, and U.S.-led coalition aircraft are all known to operate in the area. Cluster bombs are designed to spread small bomblets across a wide area, but many fail to explode, endangering civilians long after the fighting has ended. 15 bodies were recovered in the village. One monitoring group said they counted at least 35 dead in a village, which is between the Daesh-held Al-Mayadeen and Bukamal. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights put the initial toll at 30 dead. The World Health Organization WHO said yesterday that an unprecedented cholera outbreak in Yemen may have reached the halfway mark after hitting 218,798 cases in 2 months after it began. 2 years into a devastating civil war, Yemen was a perfect breeding ground for the disease, which spreads by feces getting into food or water and thrives in places with poor sanitation. Soon after the outbreak began, the WHO saw a risk that it could affect 300,000 people within 6 months, although most of Yemen's health infrastructure is not functioning and health workers have not been paid for more than 6 months. The WHO is paying incentives to medics to staff an emergency cholera network with treatment centers of 50 to 60 beds, each open around the clock. Red Crescent volunteers recovered the bodies of 24 migrants that were washed up in an eastern suburb of the Libyan capital, Tripoli, as large-scale rescues were made in the Mediterranean. Residents in Tajura district said the bodies had begun washing up at the end of last week. The toll was expected to increase as the flimsy boats used to carry migrants as far as international waters normally carry more than 100 people. 3 migrants died in the Mediterranean on Monday night, a German aid group said, during Italian-led rescue operations, in which thousands more were pulled to safety. According to an Italian Coast Guard spokesman, about 5,000 migrants were picked up off the Libyan coast by emergency services, Italy's Navy, aid groups, and private boats on Monday, and rescues were continuing. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said today that European members of the alliance and Canada will increase defense spending by 4.3% in 2017, marking a cumulative $46 billion jump since cuts stopped in 2014. The alliance is eager to show U.S. President Donald Trump that it is committed to shouldering a greater share of the cost of rising threats, including deterring Russia, dealing with failed states on its borders, and protecting against cyber attacks. Trump has made more expenditure his priority for NATO, using his first alliance meeting in May to scold European leaders about spending, which is at historical lows and does not meet NATO's goal of 2% of GDP. Stoltenberg said only 4 of NATO's 27 European members, Greece, Britain, Poland, and Estonia, met the spending target in 2016. Romania will do so this year, followed by Latvia and Lithuania in 2018. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg warned the alliance must step up its defense against cyber attacks, saying they could potentially trigger their Article 5 mutual defense commitment. Computer users around the world were scrambling today to reboot systems after a tidal wave of ransomware cyber attacks spread from Ukraine and Russia across Europe to the United States and then on to Asia. It seemed to be very similar to the WannaCry ransomware, which hit more than 200,000 users in more than 150 countries last month. Stoltenberg said the attack in May and this week just underlines the importance of strengthening the cyber defenses, and that is what the NATO is doing. Still to come in a news bulletin. Coinciding with the celebrations of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, the Wilaya of Barka organizes Camel Race Festival. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Governorate of Dhofar is prepared to receive tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate to enjoy the eye-catching natural scenery and good weather during Kharif season and Salala Tourism Festival. All the government and private bodies completed their preparations to provide facilities and services to the visitors and tourists. The mountains of the Governorate of Dhofar in this time of the year are covered with green color, with the fall of drizzle and the spread of fog. Some of the visitors chose the Governorate to enjoy Eid al-Fitr leave among joyful atmosphere. Coinciding with the celebrations of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, the citizens of the Wilaya of Barka organized Camel Race Festival, rejoicing this happy occasion at Al-Wahra Camel Races ground. The aim of organizing the 10 rounds of race was to preserve the cultural heritage of the Sultanate. The race witnessed the participation of a large number of camel owners from the wilayas of the Governorate of South Batna. The festival was also accompanied by traditional Omani singing arts. At the end of the race, winners were honored. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be westerly to northwesterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Rejoicing the royal visit of His Majesty to the Wilaya of Suhar, and on the occasion of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, the citizens continue celebrating these happy occasions. Public Authority for Information Technology announces its readiness to tackle cyber attacks, as many world countries are attacked by ransomware virus again. Scores of people are killed in an airstrike in eastern Syria. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and Eid Mubarak.